welcome to a show that will explore some of the most polarizing and least well-reviewed films of all time. Now, I've brought a tool to aid us in this. It is called the dive box. And inside this box, it is lowering before my very eyes. Take two. Now, beneath me, if I lift it up, this is what's known as the dive box. Inside this box is, God help us, some of the worst, most polarizing films of all time. None of my fellow cast members have any idea what is in that box. And in a moment, subject one, my friend Elisa Melendez, is going to look in this box and choose two films. And then me, myself, Sam, and Zoe. Me, myself, Sam. That's two people that are me. In a moment, my friend Elisa Melendez, subject one, we will refer to from now on, will look inside this box of terrible, horrible, astonishingly bad things. And she will select two films. And she has no idea, again, what is in this box. After that, me, Sam, and Zoe will then choose from those two films. No matter how bad they are, we must find the joy and why they're good, no matter how bad the film is. We're not here to mock it, we're here to love it. Now, after tonight, if you would like to participate in this, you can mail us a Blu-ray to this P.O. box of whatever you can find it. Please make sure that it is a Blu-ray. Without further ado, welcome back to Deep Dive.
Here we go. Oh! Oh no! Y'all, I feel personally attacked by this one.
For whatever it's worth, I do love you. I do love you.
With the first pick in the deep dive draft, Elisa Melendez selects Waterworld. Dryland is apparently not a miss. I've seen it, but I have not seen this movie in its entirety. I would like to dedicate this one to my husband, who has apparently seen it and actually enjoys it for some reason. The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Because I haven't seen this one, and I kind of wanted to until I didn't. Yeah, we'll see how this goes.
Oh, I am so sorry, but kinda not. So your choices are Waterworld or The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which, by the way, is beyond high definition.
Oh, good.
So I don't know if that
What does that
skews
mean?
you one way or another.
Better than high
It's like
def.
beyond high definition, but not 4K.
How-
No, it doesn't say 4K, it just says fork.
This is beyond high definition. This is perfect picture and purest digital sound available. So
It's a
I
really
don't
old
know
movie.
It's the best we could get,
if
guys.
this was also
Well,
6
Waterworld?
6 American.
I am
I don't know what that is.
from the hip firing at League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. My vote is League. I have to. Because that movie, Stephen Norrington's masterpiece, because he directed Blade and then went on to direct this and then never directed anything again.
Oh,
this is a
God.
career killer.
This is
Although
Swan Song.
this was too, because this was Kevin Reynolds, I think. Same director as Prince of Thieves, I believe.
You can never
Yeah.
have two Kevins in one production.
It's too many.
a rule.
There's a joke in the Prince of Thieves episodes about a show on TBS called "That's Twice the Kevins." So I vote League because I know this is terrible, but I want to know why we love it.
I think League also gets my vote because I did sort of want to see it, and then people said I didn't, and I listened. So I guess
And
we're
I
done listening now.
This is the movie that made Sean Connery say, "Screw Hollywood."
On a scale of 1 to holy how fake is that beard?
Ooh, which one?
Oh my god. This beard.
This beard
It's just
is like the worst.
Definitely a real beard that a
It's
human
very
has.
real.
Of beards, this is a 0. I don't want to put too fine a point on this. I have a better beard than this, and I'm
Beard
still
not
me.
found. Guys,
It's beyond.
Look at that beard.
I have to say it's unanimous LXG.
yeah.
The first new episode of Deep Dive will be League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. We're going to tell you why it's great. I saw this movie originally, and even though I was young and stupid, I hated it then. And I'm so ready to love it.
Now, yes,
supposed to love it.
this is a tale of redemption.
All right, so we are watching The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and so far in the movie, I'm pretty impressed,
Yeah.
if I'm honest.
It kind of rules so far. You can tell that they spent every dollar on this.
Yeah. So it starts out with a big ass tank.
The all-new 1899 big tank.
Oh yeah, the BFT, of course.
What? Okay. Going through and robbing the Bank of London for some pictures.
Hey, stop it. Hey, tank.
I'm gonna stand here.
I swear to God, if this guy gets like Austin Powers.
Yes, painting. Here it goes.
No, that was hardcore.
We got Wicked Witch of the West did.
That dude just banging on the side of it. Kang, kang, kang.
And then we go to Africa to meet our leading man. Is
Yes,
that a...
I believe the only man like credited even remotely on any promotional materials.
That's
yes.
fair, that's fair.
When was the last time Sean Connery's name on screen actually meant something?
This one.
So we meet, well, his doppelganger and then him in London, or I'm sorry, in Africa. Well, his doppelganger gets killed.
Yeah, we get a bunch of a cool fight scene, and he kills someone with a lion claw. That was pretty sweet.
He did.
No, and then there's the rhinoceros horn, which is
Oh, that one was awesome. He
Yeah.
impaled somebody on a rhinoceros horn, and then the British flag fell on him, and he said, "For Britain."
Yeah.
And I was just all about it, let me tell you.
And then he displayed that he was a really good shot with a rifle, which I definitely don't believe is like a skill that will come in.
As long as he had his glasses on, because he's getting
Oh, yeah,
old.
he's gotta-
So he is convinced after almost being killed multiple times by these not masked men, but
Yeah, sort of this weird
cowboy
dusty
hat,
cowboy hat, handkerchief, and
multiple
then-
pairs of pants.
Yeah, like plate mail.
It was a lot to take in. They had multiple pairs of pants because you saw a hole in one knee and then there was more pants underneath it. And I don't think that's how pants work,
Those are my
but
special pants.
secret murder pants, that's what they called them in high school. After that, they end up in London again.
Yes, it's pronounced London. Yes.
Thank you. So they end up in London again to meet M, who is a mysterious man, who is who is bringing together a team of extraordinary, gentle people, because there is actually one woman.
Yeah, but Sean Connery would very much like to keep it gentlemen.
Yes.
So we've watched a bit of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yes, we did.
Well, again, as Zoe said, League of Extraordinary People.
Yes.
Because not even like an inaccurate title, just wrong.
Yeah.
They are a league. I get like what constitutes a league?
A league is 2,000 phantoms with an F. No.
Our bad person, Mr. Phantom.
Yes, who is clearly wearing some sort of refurbished Batman cowl mask with.
So far, that's the only like kind of silly thing I noticed is that it's the furrow because we all said it.
Was that Batman's mask?
Batman winking suggestively.
Yeah.
I'm not being mean. That looks like Batman. Who, like, had a rough day.
There's no way to think about anything else. But rewinding all the way back to the beginning.
This scene is set in 1899 within the nation of Europe.
I'm sorry. The first line of the film was the great nation of Europe.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, it's
Well, I mean,
read through.
No, wait.
Wires.
Does this movie think that Europe is a nation?
It does.
I think it's world building.
Now, as a former human geography teacher, I instantly recoiled in horror, but then also said, hey, this could be a teachable moment about what constitutes a nation versus a country? So hey, you know, put that in my back pocket for when I get back into the classroom.
The nation of Europe on the brink of war.
I think the history of this movie is important.
This is a comic book before it was a.
It was Alan Moore. He got. So you have to remember the reason this movie was so hated is because Alan Moore hated it.
So Alan Moore wrote a really good book, and this is not that book. There's new characters and whatever. But the thing was, I respect that book a lot less, and I respect this movie a lot more right now. So there is kind of an interesting thing happening. Because, I mean, Alan Moore, as he ages, it's getting a little tough to,
We meet most of our extraordinary gentlemen.
Yeah, we've got Captain Nemo.
Nemo.
That's what I said.
Crushed it. Captain Nemo, who is just awesome. His costume is beautiful. His beard and mustache are immaculate, despite what's on the box. And he is also really kick-ass.
Yeah.
And then we have
Invisible Man.
the Invisible Man, who looks beautiful because he has to paint his face.
And the special effects on the Invisible Man cannot be undersold.
Yes.
The shot of him running away from the gunfire,
Good.
I don't even, I still don't understand.
Even something as simple as the makeup application at the start, and as you see him sort of forming, it's fantastic.
It's a really good effect for when this movie came out. Like some really, really cool stuff that they did. Like a lot of rotoscoping. A lot of animators spent a lot of time rotoscoping that stuff out.
And then Wilhelmina, the vampire, who's our one lady. I think that's it until they go to meet Dorian Gray.
Man, did Steven make something bigger and more grand than Blade in a way that is, it touches pulp, not cheese, pulp.
Yes.
Because Dorian Gray.
Could we talk about Dorian Gray? Oh my gosh.
Dapper gentleman. Let's just be real.
He's fresh as hell. In fact, having two identical suits so that he can have one of the mooks just sort of grab and tear his freshly bullet
suit
hole
off,
shirt.
And then he changes into the exact same suit, which also matches the upholstery of his chair, which is gray because obviously. So basically, Dorian Gray, he knows what's up.
Love him.
There's very few characters that ever go on screen where you're like, my queen. But he is so perfect.
Did it.
Because there's this idea sort of surrounding this story. Because again, we're talking about two different, there's the movie and there's the book. When the story, this very, very English story of very English heroes, well, not all of them, but English stories. They added Tom Sawyer, who is an ex-Secret Service guy, or in the Secret Service. I'm not sure yet. We haven't got that far in the movie.
And then Tom Sawyer.
Tom Sawyer shows up. Because the villain shows up to murder them or give them a chance to not get murdered, I guess. And he says, hey, if you let me have this war, you can profit from it too. They say no to that. Tom Sawyer kills a guy and then kills a lot of other guys. They all take turns killing bad guys. And then we see Wilhelmina go vampire, which is it's very sexy, but it in like a weird way. Well, the noises definitely brought it down a little bit because there's a lot of them.
There's some Foley work going on there that I can only describe as lemon pepper wet.
Yeah, I would say like a 7 though. A 7.
Would you like some lemon pepper wet wings?
There it is.
I just made them.
Oh, okay.
Have a wing.
So this is our Foley art of what the vampire sounds like when she just goes ape and eats some dude. There we go.
God, I love all of it. It is very much its own thing. It is a pulpy, beautiful, absurd, great thing.
So these are Masonic Nazis.
Huh?
Well, to be fair, that's pretty news to me.
Establishing newspapers. I
Germany's
love
new
this
weapon.
so
Not us,
much.
says Germany.
Can't be us.
So the weird thing is that the first movie we did on the new deep dive, I think we all kind of love so far.
We were all a quiver with curiosity.
Oh, Dorian Gray.
Look at him.
He's so good. Dorian Gray was not this good in the book.
The Helsing, we fought a dangerous evil.
I'm trying to figure out who's going to be the turncoat.
Our transportation is...
I hope it's not Dorian. All right, so we are still watching The League of Extraordinary Gentle Humans.
Lemon pepper wet is the way to. That is the official. I don't want to put too fine a point in this. Lemon pepper wet is the official wing of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Sorry, League of Extraordinary Gentle People.
That's what I want it to be now.
Sure.
Okay, so I am really struggling, like really, really struggling, because every memory I have and everything I ever heard about this movie is that it is terrible. And set design alone, someone should have said, hey, by the way, kind of incredible.
Wow. It's okay. I love it so much, guys. I think I just really need to say that because in this second part that we were watching, we get to see the beautiful ship.
The Nautilus.
Oh my gosh.
Look only to our reaction when the submarine emerged.
Right.
Guys,
That's really.
Oh, hell yeah.
Nemo's ship.
Beneath it.
How?
Yo,
I love this.
There's a pimper ride than the pimp ride.
this is legitimately awesome.
The Sword of the Ocean?
The sword of the
sea?
ocean, or the sea.
Alliteration?
It must be the sea because alliteration.
Behold, Nautilus.
That is legitimately inspiring awe.
Yo, this is highly inconvenient but badass.
It's the sword of the ocean. That's why you fight with swords. I love this human. So the sword of the sea, the Nautilus,
Yes.
is gorgeous.
Gargantuan
Yes.
and ornate.
It matches his car.
Yeah, of course it does.
I mean, it has.
And
he's
is like
armored.
filigree, yeah.
Yes, it matches his outfit. It matches his car. Captain Nemo has it on point.
Prop design, costume design, like art everywhere in this movie is exquisite. Someone had a very clear idea of what this was going to be.
To me, it's everyone had a clear idea.
So we get to see his ship, and they take the ship to Paris.
Yes, and that is where they're hunting down another member of the League of Extraordinary Gentle Humans. Is it a member or is it 2 members, technically?
Well, that's a good question. 1.5. So we end up meeting Mr. Hyde.
He has to be captured first, which, not entirely sure when they established how Quartermain was able to set up this elaborate
Very
trap
elaborate trap.
among the streets of Paris, but it worked. In the meantime, there is some playful banter between him and Tom Sawyer.
Yeah, they're building
ribbing
this
each
fun
other.
relationship of like father son.
It's a little delightful.
Your kid
ribbing.
died, maybe I can replace him. Weirdness.
You know.
It's cool because Sean Connery has to actually say like, no, shoot over here, so he'll run over there.
Yeah, it's interesting to see a movie strategize about being nonviolent with
Yes.
guns. But in a movie about the bad guys having fully automatic weapons and they finding that unsporting, which is sort of level 1, but sort of under that is how to use a weapon of destruction for basically incapacitating a target. Excuse me, instead of just murdering them. Which, hey, 2017 called, yeah. So you shoot around them to you don't just murder them?
And then you kidnap them on your giant submarine.
And what I found really fascinating is that he is very much in control while he's Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
He's not just some mindless monster. He's not the Incredible Hulk who's just mad at everything. He's very much still in control.
Yes.
He's just physically different.
Yes, and the effects of the transformation I thought were really well done.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a really cool interpretation of Jekyll and Hyde.
Oh,
I thought
definitely.
it was pretty dope.
The Jekyll and Hyde stuff alone is magnificently shot. Every time we see Dr. Jekyll, he's always framed sort of half out of frame in another frame because he is disconnected but also only half of himself. And I'm like, no one was doing this. Like, no one even touched this in 2003. And what a mistake. What a mistake we have all. Like, this show is now easy because we're trying to find what is good. The movie is good so far. So I'm waiting for some, like, sugar crash or something.
Right.
We get more about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. We actually see this phenomenal argument between the two of them.
Yes.
That takes place in between reflections and, I guess, hallucinations by the end of it.
But very well done.
Oh my gosh.
Super good.
The shots of Dr. Jekyll arguing with Mr. Hyde as he runs down. So the shadow of Mr. Hyde is looming over Dr. Jekyll this whole time. But as he passes the windows perfectly, he becomes a real person in the reflection of the windows and then goes back to, I mean, it is so, like, the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde stuff is so striking to me.
There's some character building I'm not crazy about, but overall you get this sense that they all are extremely capable, they know what they're doing, and they look pretty good doing it.
And also extremely horned up.
That does happen too.
We've got guy with, you know, kid issues. Kid issues?
Well, wait,
Kid
so
issues is my rap name.
I want to pivot off that for a second because I think this actually is important. Again, 2003. Every single person you think you know their sexuality, wrong. They're bisexual. All of them.
I was not expecting for Monsieur Dorian Gray to swing the way of Miss Mina Harker. That was actually kind of hot.
Yeah, they are continuing to make her character very sexy, and I like it a lot because vampires, sexy, ladies, sexy. It's all good, it's all there. But apparently she's like maybe a little too sexy for the rest of the crew.
It's a little much.
So everybody is all about our vampire lady friend.
However, she's a very, very capable person.
Yeah.
And very, very good at shooting down the one Tom Sawyer.
Yes. Because he is too young and too well-mannered. Is that what she said?
It's like, too young, too sweet. She has no
use for
room
either
for
of us.
either. So, meh.
The League of Extraordinary Humans are all bisexual, and it's 2000. Like,
except for Nemo.
This is
his only love is the sea.
He's ace. I mean, I can side with Nemo. I can go there.
Well, you spend that much time around semen.
That's not what asexuals do.
But one thing that we do see in this section is, you know, we're kind of sowing the seeds of discord among the crew.
Here's the thing is, it is so clear to me that this movie was the blueprint for the Avengers. There's no way that John Swabin did not sit down and watch this movie while he was writing the script for Avengers. There's literally no way, like structurally, hey, let's all get on this big ship and then all of our interpersonal issues start to clash and you know, I don't know about the allegiances of this person.
Dr. Jekyll is the Hulk.
Yep, like, literally, yeah.
Who skips leg day? But I would never do it, but I could absolutely make a Movies and Mikey where I actually just proved that this movie is the Avengers.
Yeah.
Beat for beat. Beat for beat.
So I don't know. Are they gonna stay together? Are they gonna fall apart? Will they pull this together in the end? I don't know.
Neither do I. But I'm excited to find out because I'm really into this movie.
Again, I feel bad this was in the box. Again, P.O. Box right there. Hit us up. We want to love everything. This has just been very easy to love. But again, I think that's a very important reason to watch this show. You guys all need to rent this movie right now because it rules.
It's so good.
I've actually stopped drinking. I wasn't even like it's just fun. It's just fun.
The Nautilus next to these gondolas are
like, oh, nice
my
boats.
gosh.
Nice boats.
Yeah, aren't those lovely? Okay, but how did none of those people notice that big ass ship?
Obviously a stealth.
They arrive in Venice. Also, fantastic shot of the Nautilus entering this beautiful city of lakes and, you know, kind of like ducking its head and basically bouncing off of every bridge and just sweeping gondolas to the side like it ain't no thing.
Yeah, it's endearing how they like kind of edge up against a bridge and say like, whoa, stop, we don't want to do any property damage.
Oh.
Good thing that was that high.
Exactly.
First of all, it was made for him. He's a Nemo. Clearly it was not made for him, and he's destroying priceless artifacts of Venice.
There was a big action scene in Venice.
Let's go to Venice.
What's left of it?
Yeah.
And it's the Phantom.
right.
And of course,
This is
it's
actually
during
singing on its own.
Carnival.
Yeah.
Well,
just
the
wait,
masks help hide Phantom.
This shot is incredible.
Oh no!
Donkey Kong's been here.
10 minutes later, there's a literal domino.
The buildings are
string
falling
of-
like dominoes.
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Oh, that was
So
actually.
this is happening
That's
now.
like the invasion.
This is happening now.
Yeah. Oh crap. Yep. The buildings. It's like dominoes. You know.
Yeah, shout out to that one guy who like just explains exactly what's happening as it happens.
You know how in dominoes where the table gives out underneath dominoes.
The whole car sequence where Dennis
Shot
is
amazingly.
falling around him, and he's apparently a very good driver, which is not something you knew about Tom Sawyer.
I remember from 2003 when I saw this movie originally that was the scene that was really cheesy and something didn't work and it didn't even come up on my radar this time.
It seems like one of the things that kept this movie from succeeding back when it came out was, I guess people didn't appreciate how absurd the anachronisms were, because it leans on it really, really heavily, but it just kind of it expects you to be along for the ride, because like, yeah, now they've all got like submachine guns, and it gets even weirder because this guy has a cruise missile that can lock onto a flare that is shot out of an automobile.
What is that thing now?
I don't know, but he had a cruise missile already, so like, what can I even?
It's so rad, yeah. And everyone just accepts this.
Oh, it's an escape pod.
Oh, that's dope as hell. Look at it go.
If I was gonna knock this movie, it's that fluid dynamics of computer graphics in 2003, not as great. Like the water CG doesn't look great. So,
Yeah.
that's really, that's my only complaint, is that the water doesn't look great. That sounds like an okay movie to me.
They do spend a lot of time in water because they're in the Nautilus, so it can get distracting.
Yeah. This movie would have to make some really big mistakes at this point to make me hate
I
it.
don't even know what those mistakes would be.
Excellent, excellent chase, fight, swarm of bat scene situation.
Can we talk about my favorite vampire woman in the whole world?
gosh,
Because when she finally goes full vampire,
Which, by the way, I think is one of the coolest interpretations of vampire full transformation.
because like there's the cheesy ways, but clearly she has been holding on to something.
She has been, and it's a lot of bats. She's been holding on to just a lot of bats.
It's not just a swarm of bats. It's not just hyper-powered, kind of slightly grotesque, but still alluring woman. It's both. You get both.
And an
But-
amazing costume change. Just gorgeous.
Because this is just that kind of movie.
Oh, they go full grotesque with her too, right? She's sort of floating along, just taking out dudes who are firing from the rooftops and just chomping.
It's the only time we don't see her wearing scarlet. She is wearing all black after she turns full vampire.
It's so good.
Chomping hard.
But then, that brings us to the betrayal.
All right,
I don't know if we can, like, cut to footage of me holding a chip in horror.
I think that exists. So
I was staggered. I was taken aback, holding a chip.
we shouldn't reveal the perpetrator.
I've never in any video I've ever done cared about spoilers, and yet while we were watching this, I was like, we cannot reveal some things because I think it is important to experience them as you do, because there's some surprises in here.
Yeah, there are some twists that there's no reason we would see coming.
Nah.
That was what kept us yelling.
Mileage is gonna vary. Absolutely watch this with people.
Yes.
Absolutely watch this with friends, people you care about, people like my friendo Zoe.
This is a very like 24 storyline where they're trying to find the mole.
No.
So it should not have been as surprising as it was, and that's what made it so.
We all
amazing.
screamed.
We all
We
yelled,
all screamed.
except for maybe Sam who called it, but whatever.
The ultimate bad guy explains everything with actually a really interesting sort of mechanic.
In a weird kind of, it's an audio thing, but we're seeing the video thing, and it's all film grainy.
I liked that a lot. I liked
And it's
that.
super dope, which then kind of turned me back around to being like, hey, you know what? I don't 100% hate everybody, which is kind of a lot to say for this movie.
And everyone said this movie sucked, even though there's some really interesting stuff going on if you're actually paying attention.
There's amazing stuff going on.
The fact that we were invested enough to have the genuine reaction.
Yes.
We were invested in these people.
Again, super pulpy, but that's why it's great, is it's super pulpy.
Yes.
This is not Alan Moore's book. It's its own thing that I think...
Beautiful and wonderful and exciting to watch.
And this movie's supposed to be bad. Where?
God, it's good.
It's good. So, we finished up The League of Extraordinary Gentlehumans. I have to say, for me, the ending was really, really incredible in one way and really fell apart in another way.
Like, without question, this movie stumbles in the fourth quarter.
So, we are in winter at a different location, and folks are wearing beautiful winter fashions to basically go to the home base of villainy.
And we get this full sort of Lord of the Rings-esque Mordor tour through this lair.
Where we find out the nefarious plan to basically duplicate the League of Extraordinary Gentlepersons and basically sell off their essence to the highest bidder, along with making war robots and other Nautiluses?
It's actually interesting, like, this movie would have looked really, really good like 2 years earlier, because this was coming out in 2003 when Return of the King came out. So, like, if no one else would have had any point to compare stuff of this scale, because there's a lot of work with like miniatures and sweeping environments and CGI layered in. Like, it's actually really, really impressive. It just got beaten to the box office by like months, literally.
An awesome moment where everybody's approaching the castle. Hyde is all Hyde. Bats are being flung at the walls. It is an awesome series of fight scenes and escape scenes. And basically everybody almost kind of faces a doppelganger at some point, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, everyone gets paired off. And they have these face-offs. There's a lot of really interesting stuff done with all of their powers or technologies being used for evil. These heroes have to sort of undo the stuff that they've created. In particular, I want to shout out the sort of evil lieutenant who just straight up bodies an entire flask of Hyde juice and becomes this giant tomato.
The way that it fell apart for me was just the CGI was really challenging, and they had done such a great job with most of the rest of it. And then, as Sam said, we get this weird lopsided tomato monster, which was really cool in concept and then executed in a way that I found troubling.
The ending with the overflowing tomato monster with some very questionable CGI. Like there's no getting around it. It sort of turns into the thing you heard it was, and I think that's the memory that people have of this movie.
There's some really bad one-liners, like this one.
Oh, I've been waiting all week to do that.
Get a grip, man.
Well, I thought I just did.
And that one.
We have trouble. Trouble. I call it sport.
And who could forget this one?
The brute's potion, the vampire's blood, the Indian science, and mounted samples of invisible skin.
It'll be all the rage in Europe.
To defend it for a second, and my boy Stephen Norrington, this feels like reshoots and other stuff to me. Like
It feels like somebody tried to make it the dumb Hollywood action movie at the end, even though it was a subtle, character-driven sort of film leading up to this point.
It took its time really cementing our character dynamics, and I mean, there's an entire like middle section where basically nothing happens except intrigue aboard a submarine, and you know that was pretty ballsy for an early 2000s action thriller.
My issues with the end of the movie were purely technical. If we get down to story and characters, I think it was incredibly done.
There is an excellent other reveal that I was not expecting, because I thought we were done. I thought the betrayal was all we were gonna get, but then 2 reveals. It's like a drag queen taking off a wig to reveal another wig. It was the best! It was the absolute best! And totally unexpected, and it totally had me hooked.
Because they had to face their doppelgangers, they had to go up against themselves in order to really find what victory was. But that wasn't the important part of it, and that's because at this point they had become a team.
And we all assemble as Avengers, avenging the war that is yet to come.
I want you to watch this because it's amazing. You're gonna run into some problems at the end because it does kind of turn into what you were scared it was. But if there was ever a film that was more about the journey than the ending, it's very much this one.
So many things that were set up at the start of the movie you would expect for a bad movie to never address. Picture of Dorian Gray, we saw the picture. The fact that Quartermain couldn't shoot well without his glasses anymore. We had a broken glasses, but it was time now moment, and so the young blood had to take the shot. Learning from his training, and it was a perfect tied up in a bow sort of situation that I feel was very satisfying. And if I'm satisfied at the end, then wasn't that all's well that ends well?
The joy I felt with my friends tonight, I have actually not felt in a film in a long time. And I think that is something that a lot of you should replicate.
I think you should watch this movie. I think you should watch it with friends because it is about friends who also happen to be sexy vampires and have superpowers. So what's wrong with it, right? I think it's a great movie.
I really liked this movie. It was a lot of fun. It was way better than I remembered seeing it in theaters. And I would actually watch it again, so you should too.
So worth the price of admission on this. Like, not a bad film. Like, it should not have been in that box, straight up. Straight up. It was fun. It was great. Check it out.